Welcome, I'm Curt. We have a terrific lineup today, including area spotlights, real estate related advice, energy tips, and more on this episode of South Florida Homes and Lifestyles. And it all starts right now. We are in Boynton Beach at the Estates of Silver Lake. I'm here with community expert and realtor Bob Garrison. Bob, what a community this is.
Thank you, Curt. We're on one of the most beautiful roads in Palm Beach County, Golf Road, which we share with the Village of Golf, Delray Dunes, and Quail Ridge, all large golf communities. We're a smaller, independent community. We don't have golf, but we do share many of the amenities that the other communities have, including pool, 3 brand new surface tennis courts, and a new refurbished clubhouse.
Now, the Estates of Silver Lake are at one end, and then you have a much higher end of it too.
Yes, we do. We have in Silver Lake, the prices of houses run from $250,000 up to $350,000, where our neighbors start at over $350,000 and go up into several million.
And it's all along Gulf Road here, and very affordable.
Very affordable. Very low. We have very low maintenance. Maintenance is only $207 a month. Of course, we don't have the golf course to pay for.
Tell me about the history of this area. When did it start?
This Golf Road was basically built out in the early 80s. All of these units here were built between 1980 and 84. They're different than the other communities other than golf, the fact that they're a little bit smaller. They run from 1,800 square feet for the 2-bedroom, 2-bath to up to as much as 2,700 square feet for the 3-bedroom, 3-bath.
And it's plenty of availability of homes for sale, so if you don't find what you want today, there's something tomorrow.
There'll always be something up tomorrow, but inventory is always limited because it is a community where people look, and many of the people living here bought because their neighbors, relatives, friends already live here.
Bob Garrison, thank you. You know, there are 1,000 communities from Vero Beach to Boca Raton, and you can find the perfect community for you, like the Estates of Silver Lake, on our website, southfloridahomesandlifestyles.com. We're delighted to have Andrew Barber, who's president of Florida Realtors, with us today on South Florida Homes and Lifestyles. Andrew, this is South Florida Homes and Lifestyles, but in the Lifestyles in Tallahassee, what are lawmakers talking to Florida Realtors about?
Well, that's interesting, and one of the great parts about our initiatives this year in Governor Scott is jobs. And our preamble says that under all is the land. Well, as companies move, their manufacturing facilities or their offices, they move to offices, and their employees move into homes that are around those offices. And their concern is the quality of life and the availability of housing around the different offices that they can have. So we help them and guide them in those areas as they recruit companies into our area.
Mm-hmm. And all of those things are in laws and regulations and rules that come from Tallahassee.
Correct, and everything that we touch, sort of the foundation of it, of America's wealth, is in real estate, in the homes.
I know that one priority of Florida Realtors is to get rid of the sales tax on commercial transactions.
Sales tax on commercial leases, yes. Landlords, when they the rents that they collect, they actually have to they give a portion of that property taxes and insurance, and they literally collect sales taxes on what they collect for property taxes. And so it really truly is double taxation.
Oh, and it's a burden on business.
It is. We've had a number of businesses, large businesses, say that they would be able to expand in some cases by 5 and 6 stores if in fact they didn't have that cost to bear.
Okay, come back from Tallahassee for a moment. You're a local realtor as well. You see the big picture in Florida and you see the local picture as well. What are you seeing?
Well, the great news is that we have a healthy market. The great news is that while our inventories are low, our prices remain stable, and interest rates, most importantly, are low. And we expect those to remain low throughout this year, but we all know that they can't go any lower and that there's an increase coming in the future. So take advantage of those low interest rates now.
Mm-hmm. Where do you see new communities and new construction going in this area in South Florida?
Well, most of the new construction is in the mid and north end of the counties, primarily on the west side.
Mm-hmm. And that will lead to more development in the north end.
It will. It will. And it's we're seeing, even though we see a healthy market, the new construction has not come on as quickly or as rapidly as we'd like to see, and that's one of the reasons that our inventories remain low. Mm-hmm. But our market, the good news is that our market is fundamentally stable and we're in a balanced market.
Okay. Andrew Barber from the President of Florida Realtors and a local realtor. Always good to have your insights here on South Florida Homes and Lifestyles.
Thank you. It's great to be with you.
Thanks for being here. More to come, back before you know it.
At Ibis Golf and Country Club, you can have it all while living in the heart of a lush oasis. Here you'll discover a vibrant lifestyle, including an all-new sports village, fitness center, and luxurious spa. We're the only community in the world to boast 3 Nicholas family-designed golf courses. But what really sets us apart are our members.
Ibis, the place everyone wants to come home to.
The legacy that has been created by the International Polo Club Palm Beach is back. The anticipation of thoroughbreds charging down the field, the solid click of mallet on ball, the pop of a champagne cork, and the excited revelry of thousands. Experience the unparalleled glamour and competition this season. Purchase tickets to a match today at internationalpoloclub.com or call 561-204-5687.
In North Palm Beach at a major reconstruction and remodeling project by Aaron Chandler Construction. Aaron, last time we were here, you were tearing it up.
Yes, we had most of the place tore up, and since then we have completed all of the rough plumbing, mechanical, and electrical throughout the home. We've installed all new sliding glass doors and windows that are in pack now, and re-drywalled the place, got a fresh coat of paint on it, and now we are starting to install all the cabinetry throughout the kitchen, the bathrooms, and we had a little change along the way.
And that change?
The change was to keep the terrazzo floors. We did a lot of homework, and the homeowner decided not to go with the terrazzo after all. We had to raise the floor 4 inches with concrete in the breezeway to meet the floor to the rest of the home. So after doing that, we decided instead of terrazzo, we're going to put a marble down. More cost effective, less time consuming.
Some time ago, terrazzo was the common floor around these parts, but now it's become a specialty item and expensive.
Very expensive, and there's only a handful of guys who do it from Port St. Lucie down to Miami, where before they were a dime a dozen.
Now, the breezeway is the hallmark of this home, quite literally, because you've taken out the walls and put in these impact sliding doors. It's amazing.
It is going to be amazing. We took the openings, it was just a 36-inch front door, and made them almost 16 feet long on both the front and the rear of the home to get as much natural light in the home as possible.
Last time we were here, it was a couple of months ago. How far away are we from finishing this place?
We're about 5.5, 6 weeks away tops. We're just looking at final electrical, final plumbing, tap out, and putting granite countertops on after this week.
And then it's going to be all done.
All done. We can come back for a recap and check it out.
We'll do that. Aaron Chandler Construction with a midpoint update. Are you tired of paying rent? Well, maybe now is the time to get into the housing market because mortgage rates are still incredibly low. And to talk about that, here's Janine Henry on a Group 1 mortgage. Still historically low mortgage rates. It's wonderful.
We say it over and over again, Curt. Rates are low, rates have been low, rates appear to be staying low. Now is a great time to buy.
And that increases a home buyer's buying power.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And home prices, while we're starting to see movement in the marketplace, they're not out of control. It's a fantastic time to be a home buyer.
Mm-hmm. And because so many people look at the price of a house and say, I can't afford it, but if you look at the payment is affordable.
It really is. Oftentimes you can live in a better home with a mortgage payment than you can with the same rental payment.
How do mortgage rates differ depending on how much money you're putting down these days?
Well, you know, it's all about risk aversion for the lenders.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, 25% down yields a better rate than 10% down, 30% better still, and of course good credit scores really help also.
What about those home buyers, would-be home buyers who were shut out of the mortgage market a couple years ago? Have some of the lenders eased up these days and made mortgages more available?
Truly, they have. We are now seeing FHA lenders, and that's a government-insured loan, start to offer credit to borrowers with lower credit scores. A lot is left up to the underwriter's discretion. So maybe if you have a good debt-to-income ratio, the file has lots of merits, but maybe you got yourself into trouble and haven't been a credit junkie. You've been a little bit more cautious coming out, so your scores haven't escalated. You know, there's a good chance that you can get a loan if an underwriter sees merit in your file.
So when they come to you, what kind of papers should they bring in to prove that their credit score is decent?
We're going to want to look at all of their income and asset documentation, tax returns, W-2s, most recent pay stubs. We're going to want to see that you have money in the bank for your down payment, closing costs, etc. But as far as the credit goes, coming in and telling me that, you bought a car 2 weeks ago and your credit score was this, isn't really going to be the snapshot that I need. We're going to want to pull your credit ourselves and really work around what's real with a mortgage underwriting formulary behind it.
So go in there and give them what you got, and because mortgages are more available now.
Yes.
Janine Henry on Group 1 Mortgage, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Curt.
You say you want to see what's possible in a pool? This is what's possible in a pool. I'm with Larry Rowe of LB Rowe Pools. Larry, this is a beautiful home and beautiful pool in Lake Clark Shores.
Yeah, it is, Curt. And the whole idea is the customer had a really good architect design this pool, and then we kind of built it with his input, and it came out really nice. You know, it's got the negative edge spa. It has a bar area, sun shelf, LED lighting, misters, marble deck, bar area. I mean, it's it's like a little oasis out here.
Let's start with the sun deck. It's a gradually sloped area into the pool.
Yes, it is, and it's easy for older people to get in and out of. People don't realize that. It's good to lay on and get some sun. It's good for kids to play on. It's just a nice feature to a pool.
And it has a spa.
Yes, it does, and this one actually has a leaning shelf in it, and it has a zero edge on the front made out of stone, which is really nice, and glass tile. It's just a little upper end.
Tell me about the misters.
The misters are nice in summer. You know, it gets 90, 95 degrees around here. The misters are really nice. It's a nice feature, just not only for looks, but it actually cools down the temperature.
We're familiar with misters at theme parks, but this is at a pool.
Yeah, it is, and the prices really come down a long way on them. They're easy to get. People get them on the internet. There's a bunch of local companies that sell them. Very easy to install.
Something I've never seen in a pool before. Eating deck or a bar, what are you going to call it?
Yeah, the little ledge over there actually has seats on it. And there's a lot of houses that have yards that slope off really big, especially on the water. So this is a good way to incorporate the lower deck area with the pool. It works out really nice.
And of course this has the upgraded pool surface.
Yeah, this is the pebble finish, which is, we try to sell it to everybody, but a lot of people don't like to go the extra money. It's a really nice bulletproof finish, and pebble always looks good. It's a lifetime warranty.
And this is uniquely designed.
Yes, it is. He has a friend of his, Steve, that's a designer, and they really helped him a lot on this pool, and we carried his dream out.
Well, Larry Rowe, it's not free, but It's possible. If you want to get a awesome pool, talk to Larry Rowe at Larry Rowe Pool.
Thanks, Curt.
The U.S. and Canada, best of friends, but even in the best of friendships, things can get complicated. And that's where Keats Conley comes in, enhancing your cross-border lifestyle. Marie Sardano is a cross-border planner at Keats Conley. And in a series of books that Keats Conley has published, this one called The Border Guide, now in its 10th edition, you talk about the swinging doors. How did it affect you?
Well, basically in 1986, I became I got a green card through my parents. So I came to live in the States. And in 1992, I became a U.S. citizen. In 95, it allowed me to go back to Canada. And 18 years later, I was able to return to the U.S. and come to live to sunny Florida. So the swinging doors allow you, being a U.S. citizen and a Canadian citizen, having dual citizenship, you're able to go from one country to another.
But what about snowbirds who don't become U.S. citizens?
Well, kind of the same principle applies to these snowbirds, except that they remain as Canadian residents. When they cross the border, they come down for the winter. They come down to spend maybe 4 or 5, sometimes 6 months. As long as they maintain their limit within 182 days in the U.S., there'll be no problem. Then they get to enjoy both sides of the border.
How did Keats Conley help you?
Well, it's been very difficult in Canada to find the proper advice. You know, when I was seeking help on my behalf, because as an American citizen, you have to file tax returns in the U.S., and nobody was able to give me the right answer. So a few years ago, I got to read this book, The Border Guide, that was from Keats Conley. And through that, I was able to find my answers, basically. So I hired their services to help me sort out my situation. And a few years later, here I am. They offered me a position, and I came to work for Keats Conley.
You are a chartered financial consultant and a cross-border planner.
Correct.
What happened when you moved your furniture and your personal belongings across the border? Are you paying sales tax on those things?
No. That was pretty easy. It's completely free entry. You know, you just have to complete this form 3299. It's a declaration of free entry of unaccompanied articles, because that comes along with the movers. And as long as you provide them with an inventory, you know, you have to provide them with an inventory of all your boxes, and provide them with a copy of your passport and your U.S. residency and proof of U.S. residency, if that's the case, if it's applicable. Then there's no problem. You just get your stuff down, and it's very easy, very simple.
But from personal experience, you can say it helps to get good advice.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, I was not being very well advised in the past, you know, definitely.
And that's where Keats Conley comes in. That's where this book, The Border Guide, comes in. You can find out more on our website, South Florida Homes and Lifestyles, finding out more about Keats Conley, enhancing your cross-border lifestyle. Marie Sardano, thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm with longtime realtor Kevin Kent here in one of the most vibrant, diverse communities, Abacoa in Jupiter. Kevin, you know Abacoa?
Yes, sir, I do. Abacoa was a very unique concept when it first came out of the ground. It blends modern lifestyle with kind of old world traditional neighborhood type of concepts with alley back entrance garages and front porches, sidewalks, green spaces, and community centers, community buildings, and community green areas like we're looking at right here, with nice landscaping and stuff. It's a place where people can live, work, play, and go to school, all in one spot. There's upscale work environments with Scripps Research and Max Planck, two of the top biomedical research departments. There's a Roger Dean Stadium, which is one of the hubs of Abacoa, where 4 minor league baseball teams play. But during spring training in the whole month of March, you've got the Marlins and the St. Louis Cardinals, and all the visiting clubs that come to play in an intimate setting. The stadium only seats 6,800 people, so you feel very, very close to the action.
But if you're thinking of Abacoa as only being baseball, you haven't been here lately.
No, absolutely not. There's so much to do here. For the kids, there's a skate park. There's so much to keep them entertained. The Main Street concept with restaurants and schools, FAU honors colleges here. There's a golf course, a very nice public golf course, very well designed and very difficult, very challenging for every level, every skill level of play. So it's a broadly based concept lifestyle environment where you've got all kinds of different styles of houses, from condo type residences to multi-million-dollar single family residences. 17 different neighborhoods, very unique. Each neighborhood has its own architectural style and just very, very wide-ranging concepts.
If you're looking for a varied, planned community, Abacoa might be right for you. Kevin Kent, thank you.
Thank you, Curt.
Here at Two Men and a Truck with Joel Dowley and Truckee, who just loves to dance. But we're talking about packing here, Joel.
Well, and as I like to say, packing is the opposite of dancing.
How's that?
Well, in dancing, you want movement and touching. In packing, we want no movement, and if there is movement, we want to make sure there's no touching.
So what do you tell your customers? What needs to be professionally packed?
Well, first of all, you need everything that will fit. This is a medium-sized box. As a general rule, if it will fit into that box, it needs to be packed by someone, either by the customer or by the mover, before the movers come to actually move the things. Right. Now, it's a decision that the customers can make. Some like to pack their own things. Some like to hire a professional to do it all. It's also a choice to be able to have have your mover do some of it and have you do some of your own.
But someone's going to be responsible. If you have some Tupperware or something and toss into a box as a homeowner, that's okay. But if it's mom's china,
well, that's important, and there is a greater responsibility for the mover if there's a damage, if it's been packed by the mover as opposed to a box packed by the owner. Mm-hmm. So the other thing that's important is making sure you're using the right supplies. Sturdy boxes with a lid that will close. We have packing paper, bubble wrap. Any of those are okay as long as you make sure that the things in it are being packed so that they don't move, and if they do move, they don't touch.
No dancing in the pack.
Don't let your dishes dance.
Joel Dowley, Two Men in a Truck. Good advice about packing. In a real estate transaction, there is real property and personal property. Don't get the two confused. That's what our Juris Doctor is going to tell us about. James Chiaffi, our Juris Doctor.
Hello, Curt.
I love the stethoscope.
Thank
it's a
you.
great look for you.
Thank you. And I love the bow tie, Curt.
Well, I have to tell you, normally he's wearing a bow tie, but in deference to me,
yes,
long tie. My apologies.
My respect to you.
Tell us about personal property and how some people try to scoot through.
Especially nowadays with real estate taxes increasing again, some people want to shelter the value of the property by designating some to real property and personal property. So very often a buyer will say, oh, I'd like to designate $50,000 toward the furniture and contents, when in effect there's really only $20,000. So a seller would have to be cautious about designating an inflated value because the Department of Revenue and the IRS can audit a transaction, and if they feel it was some type of a sham transaction, they can levy penalties and interest. So you really want to be sure it's a fair market value for personal property.
So in a typical transaction, you're having maybe the washer and dryer and the refrigerator.
Appliances.
What are you talking about the inflated personal property?
Well, I've seen cases where a buyer might suggest $50,000 for when their appliances are really worth $10,000. So you really want to be careful and avoid that situation.
And some other odd personal property claims?
Yes. It's so interesting about what is personal property and what's not personal property. Usually if something's movable, it's personal property. Well, we had a situation where a gentleman purchased a mansion on Palm Beach. So imagine going to the property for the walkthrough, looking at the exterior of the mansion and noticing that the two lion statues that were on the top of that roof are missing the day you go for the walkthrough. Who would have thought that those lions would be removed from the top of a mansion? They were. There was a big dispute about it. Those are movable, so technically they could be considered personal property. But I always recommend list whatever you consider to be personal property and more. So if you're not sure if something's personal or not, it should be listed on the contract. Playground equipment, that can be moved, but some people would assume it stays. Potted plants, you could have huge 100-pound pots and assume that that's going to stay. Once again, that's movable. So we want to make sure if you're a buyer that you list those potted plants and those trees and that playground equipment and anything else that could possibly be moved.
What about things that are built in, like maybe a microwave or some
That's
cabinets
considered
or
a
desk?
fixture, so that would stay with the property.
Okay. So, but mostly these people are trying to
avoid having to pay
avoid the
tax.
What would red flag that for an IRS audit?
Well, the actual Department of Revenue is more likely to come across that situation because they audit the deeds, and 2 or 3 years later they might contact a seller and say that they want proof about the value of the property. And in that audit they can determine then that there was personal property and real property, investigate the personal property, see that it was artificially inflated, and then levy penalties because it should have been really part of the personal property. Documentary stamps that are due on that sale price.
Sounds like a good case of getting some advice from attorney James Jaffe.
Thank you,
Juris
Curt.
Doctor, thanks.
Appreciate it.
SouthFloridaHomesAndLifestyles.com, a great way to search and find area communities based on lifestyles, amenities, and more. Log on today.
The legacy that has been created by the International Polo Club Palm Beach is back. The anticipation of thoroughbreds charging down the field, the solid click of mallet on ball, the pop of a champagne cork, and the excited revelry of thousands. Experience the unparalleled glamour and competition this season. Purchase tickets to a match today at internationalpoloclub.com or call 561-204-5687.
Come on, you scamps. Get up, you sinners. You're all too full of expensive dinners.
Hit the high seas with the Tony Award-winning Anything Goes. Anything Goes is the perfect Broadway getaway with white-hot dancing and a songbook of Cole Porter's biggest hits. The New York Times calls musical comedy joy.
At the Kravis Center, March 10th through the 15th. For tickets, visit kravis.org or call 561-832-SHOW.
Okay, there you are. But you can always watch us online and check out our area experts by visiting our website and YouTube channel, South Florida Homes and Lifestyles. It's all there, plus some really cool search tools that will help you find the perfect community to call home. So be sure to check it out. Thanks for watching. I'm Curt Fonger. Have a good week.